about internal dissent within Aam Aadmi Party's Punjab unit and rumours of a potential political shake-up in the state. Congress and BJP have mocked Arvind Kejriwal and have alleged that Aam Aadmi Party is preparing ground to expel Bhagwant Mann from Punjab Chief Minister's post. In fact, Punjab Congress MLA and Leader of Opposition Pratap Singh Bajwa has claimed that Congress is in touch with 30 MLAs of Aam Aadmi Party who are not in a very good condition. Bajwa has even alleged that Mann is already in touch with BJP through Ravneet Bittu. Now, on expected lines, the party's national convener and former Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal met with Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, state ministers and AAP MLAs in Delhi today. This high-profile meeting ended with Mann claiming that all's well with the Aam Aadmi Party. But sources in the party maintain that Aam Aadmi Party senior leadership would also focus more now on Punjab and other states. They are asserting that Delhi loss will not curtail its national ambitions. However, can the Aam Aadmi Party withstand the second challenge and perhaps the biggest one for the party so far, and that is of keeping its flock together? Remember, in January itself, 8 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs quit and joined the BJP before the Delhi polls. Moreover, speculations already rife about internal dissent within Aam Aadmi Party's Punjab unit and these rumours of a potential political shake-up in the state. So, is all actually well in the Aam Aadmi Party, and is this the beginning of AAP's end as is being predicted by not just the Bharatiya Janata Party but also the Congress in Punjab? Now, before we deep dive as the Aam Aadmi Party encounters hurdles in Punjab following the setback in Delhi elections, let's also tell you that over 90 MLAs of the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab, including CM Bhagwant Mann and the party's 13 MPs in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, drove down to Kapurthala House in the national capital today, only to meet AAP's national convener Arvind Kejriwal. Now, this big meeting lasted just about 25 minutes. This has now triggered speculation over Kejriwal's next move and his political future, as he is neither the CM nor an MP or an MLA. Punjab is the only state where the Aam Aadmi Party is in power and has a tenure till 2027. So what are the options for Arvind Kejriwal? That's a big question everybody is trying to, in fact, break down. Kejriwal can enter the Rajya Sabha from Punjab. That's option number 1. The party has 10 Rajya Sabha MPs, 7 from Punjab and 3 from Delhi. AAP will need to make one of them resign only so that they can accommodate Arvind Kejriwal. However, AAP cannot win back the Rajya Sabha seat if a Delhi Rajya Sabha MP resigns, since it no longer has the numbers in Delhi. But it does have 93 MLAs and 3 MPs in Punjab and can easily regain a seat from there. AAP's National General Secretary Sandeep Pathak is a Rajya Sabha MP from Punjab and may make for Kejriwal's entry. Now, he has a tenure till 2028, so it will give time to Kejriwal to focus on a Delhi election in 2029 to 30, post his tenure ending in 2028. This will give Kejriwal a chance to rub also shoulders with senior politicians in the upper house of the parliament. Though this is an unlikely option and has been dismissed by senior AAP leaders who say Bhagwant Mann will continue as the Punjab Chief Minister till 2027, speculation is about given Kejriwal's interest in Punjab's affairs. So the third option now before Kejriwal is to consider contesting from the vacant Ludhiana Assembly seat. Now, that could pave the way for him to replace Bhagwant Mann as the Chief Minister. Another option for Kejriwal is to focus purely on his party and continue in his existing position as the national convener of the party and ensure that the party is fortified as a national party. The defeat of the Aam Aadmi Party in the Delhi Assembly elections is also sending ripples through Punjab, where the party's leadership and internal dynamics are currently under scrutiny. And now Punjab's Leader of Opposition Pratap Singh Bajwa has made big claims of exodus for the Aam Aadmi Party. What are those claims? Let's take you through them. He claims that over 30 Aam Aadmi Party legislators have been in contact with the Congress party as MLAs are ready to switch sides, particularly after the AAP's defeat in the Delhi Assembly elections. In response to Bajwa's allegations, Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann has in fact dismissed these claims, saying that Bajwa has been making similar claims about AAP's instability for the past 3 years without any significant development. Now, Pratap Singh Bajwa suggested that the Punjab unit of AAP is at odds with the Delhi leadership and there is growing unrest within the Punjab AAP faction, with leaders in the state distancing themselves from the Delhi leadership, creating tensions that could lead to a split in the party. In response, Bhagwant Mann has downplayed Bajwa's assertions, saying that the Congress leader should first count the number of Congress MLAs in Delhi before making accusations. Pratap Singh Bajwa further says that Bhagwant Mann may follow the path of Maharashtra's CM Eknath Shinde, hinting at a change in leadership and a realignment of loyalties within the Aam Aadmi Party. In response, Bhagwant Mann has again dismissed Bajwa's claims. He points out that switching sides is part of Congress's culture, not the Aam Aadmi Party's. Bajwa has claimed that the Aam Aadmi Party may face a split after its defeat in the Delhi Assembly elections. In response, Bhagwant Mann has hit back at Punjab Leader of Opposition, stating that both victory and defeat are natural parts of a political process and that setbacks like the Delhi result are part of the politics. That brings me to the question we are posing to our guests today. As far as the Punjab political crisis for the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, is the Bhagwant Mann government standing on shaky grounds? Let's pose that question in just a bit.
मेहनत करके घर घर जाके, गलियों में जाके, गांव में जाके, कस्बों में, शहरों में जाके हमने पार्टी बनाई। उनके यहाँ कल्चर है इधर जाने का, कभी उधर आने का, कभी वापस आने का।
भगवंत मान का मुख्यमंत्री रहना, आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार रहना बड़ा मुश्किल है।
All right, let me introduce our panelists today. I'm joined in by Nighat Abbas, who's a spokesperson for the Congress Party. Also joined in by Karan Verma, who's a political analyst. In fact, I'm being told that Huda Zariwala, who's a political analyst supporting the Aam Aadmi Party, will also be joining us, as will be Ms. Charu Pragya, who's a spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Many thanks to you, Nighat and Karan, for joining in. Nighat, if I could begin with you. Today, that very critical meeting happened, after which Bhagwant Mann stood and in a way to prove his loyalties. He in fact went on record to say that all's well in the Aam Aadmi Party and that they need to in fact speed up their work as far as welfare schemes are concerned. Do you think this is much ado about nothing?
You know what happens when the trees start rotting from within? The storms are not needed to bring them down, and that's exactly what has happened with Arvind Kejriwal. When he lost the battle in Delhi, his own seat particularly, he actually made sure, and the people got to know, that the foundation of Aam Aadmi Party was crackled, and the message has gone loud, clear to the entire nation and clearly to Punjab, and which is why it started shaking. That's exactly what has happened. You know, Arvind Kejriwal's least concern is about the security of Punjab, but obviously his politics, because he's clearly not running the government but a showbiz. And why I say this is because, you know, we do not have Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson on the panel to officially answer, but I'd like to ask this question to whoever is supporting Aam Aadmi Party today, that where was his panic button when there were 8 bomb blasts in Punjab? He never called any of the Aam Aadmi Party's MLAs to Delhi and to do that so-called review meeting. But the moment he loses the battle in Delhi, there's a so-called review meeting and everybody has been called for the defeat of Delhi. Now Aam Aadmi Party MLA from Punjab are being answerable. So it is evident enough that he's in a panic situation, and the least thing what he's concerned about is the Punjab security, because if he was actually concerned about it, he would have called the people to discuss, the MLAs to discuss about the security of Punjab, the gangsters of Punjab who had the terror attacks which happened lately in Punjab. So it is evident that he is such in a situation, in a shaky situation, that he's not able to make up his mind that where else to go.
All right, you've set the tone for the debate, Nighat. I'm going to bring you in. In fact, let me quickly bring in Huda, and I can see Charu is also joined in. Charu, I want you to take that point forward. How do you respond to what Bhagwant Mann had to say when he says that all's well and nothing's wrong with the Aam Aadmi Party? One, of course, wonders what brought him and the remaining MLAs all the way to Kapurthala, considering Delhi campaigning is over and they are not needed anymore.
Good evening. I think everything is great with the Aam Aadmi Party. That is their definition of great, and that is how they've been operating both in the state of Delhi and in Punjab. They don't care that the situation is such with their free bijli that children are dying in hospitals because of power cuts. The situation is so great with free bijli that farmers don't have access to power and it's paddy season. It doesn't matter. That's not important. Free electricity is so important that at this point of time, the government has not yet been able to acquire the wheat crop, forget the paddy crop, forget about the upcoming wheat season. Let's go one step further. Look at the debt that has been accumulating in the state of Punjab, and it is only thanks to free bijli. Free bijli actually costs us 18,000 crore annually, which they are not able to pay because as soon as CM Mann was sworn in, he asked the central government for a bailout of 1 lakh crore. 1 lakh crore is not small money, but even that has risen to 1.4 lakh crore, which they are asking from the 16th Finance Commission. Please tell me, if this is not a crisis for Punjab, what is? Punjab has been declining on every single parameter in the last couple of years. We've seen that happen. The entire cabinet could not have a meeting because they were here campaigning in Delhi. And what were they campaigning about? Who were they campaigning for? They were campaigning for a person who's just come out from behind bars, who is very good with his big dialogue, but zero on delivery. And that situation is impacting the rest of the country. Whichever way you look at it, they don't have money to pay their cops. How are you going to maintain law and order? And what is the result of that? Firing everywhere. What is the result of that? There is a situation of explosions happening, firearms being recovered not even 300 meters away from the CM's residence. Drug situation in Punjab has gone to an all-time high thanks to Mr. Mann. But everything is perfect according to him because Aam Aadmi Party can do no wrong. I think Delhi is just the beginning. I have been saying this again and again. Aam Aadmi Party is a house of cards. You remove one card, the rest of it is going to come crashing down, and it's high time it did. Punjab is critical for our national security, and we can't have a headless government taking it into oblivion.
I think there's finally one thing that both BJP and Congress will agree on, and I have been repeatedly hearing it, is that it's the end of the Aam Aadmi Party. Huda, would you agree? Because look at all those reasons which are now being quoted, because remember, it was not just in Delhi, but it was also in Punjab that the Aam Aadmi Party arrived on the promise of fighting corruption. If, as Charu highlighted, the salaries of the cops are not going to be paid on time, the law and order is bound to be a menace. You look at the drug menace, the VVIP culture, apart from the welfare schemes that have been promised, amounting to that 1,000 rupees for women above 18. Huda.
Well, Aam Aadmi Party is obviously a party that is come out of an entire movement. And Andolan, promises that were made were actually delivered on ground. The Punjab development model came out of the Delhi development model. So, the question of Aam Aadmi Party, not being able to continue in Punjab, or the MLAs being poached and, the possibility of them being poached and approached by Congress or the likes of perhaps Akali Dal, is definitely out of the question. This meeting is a meeting that indicates the strengthening of Aam Aadmi Party. The fact that all the MLAs and Bhagwant Mann ji himself stand by Arvind ji. This, in fact, goes on to show that there is, in fact, nothing, that is going to divide the AAP as far as Punjab is concerned. Now, as for the work...
Huda, when you say that, I have to make a quick intervention. The strengthening of the party at a time when you've seen a Delhi debacle, yes. Also at a time when in Delhi we've seen 8 Aam Aadmi Party MLAs quit your party in the last week of January itself. Not to forget one of the big names like Kailash Gehlot. So the need to strengthen the party, the need to pacify those who have been disenchanted and disillusioned with the senior party leadership, I'm sure you will agree, which is what this meeting was hoping to achieve.
See, Aam Aadmi Party is known to deliver work on the ground. As far as those 8 MLAs that were deflected from Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi, and actually, in fact, even got a chance to contest and win from BJP in Delhi, only goes on to show that the BJP had no local faces. They relied on people that were being pulled in from Aam Aadmi Party. But fine, they've won. They've won. This is a fact that we are accepting with all humility, because at the end of the day, Janta ka jo janadesh hai, that is, sar aankhon pe. But that being said, why is Punjab now being, brought into question? This is a government that is being formed by 92, a number way above the majority. There is absolutely, no deflection going to happen there. Punjab is a strong state in itself. It's a border state and a security state, which is why, sensitive issues have been dealt with. The problem of corruption has been addressed. The problem of the paddy burning has been addressed. A lot of development work is in fact done on the ground. There are reports to prove that. So many mohalla clinics that are open, the Punjab schools, the government schools that are being fixed. A lot of work that is in fact, it's done in Punjab. So there is no question of Congress, or the BJP does not even stand a chance in Punjab. Let's be real about that. The Congress, perhaps,
can I
yes.
come in, please?
Right, I will.
The Akali Dal, perhaps, yes, but not the BJP.
No, but you are giving the Akali Dal the opportunity to make space for himself. For once, I can say even the BJP has a silver lining, given that they have just won mayoral elections in Chandigarh.
Akali Dal was a Baisakhi ki sarkar with the BJP. Let's not forget
Huda,
how
how
that
did-
ended.
no,
We've seen the
we've seen the
conditions.
BJP also win the mayoral election. In fact, Charu wants to make a point. Let Charu
Yes,
come in.
and because I have great respect for Huda, I don't want to call her a liar. Let's just say that she's not aware of
Thank
the
you.
situation on ground at all. She says there's going to be no deflection. Well, there was no deflection in the state of Delhi as well. She said the government was formed with such a huge majority. Absolutely. The same thing was done in Delhi. But what did you do? Every single example you're citing now, do you think citizens just want free electricity and after that let the state run amok? After that, it's okay to have murders in broad daylight. Is that fine? Is that what you're propagating? You are a farming state, but you are in a situation where the government cannot pick up paddy. It is ready. It is rotting. Do you not understand that? If you can't pay your cops, what are you doing? Your debt keeps piling up, and where do you come asking for a handout? To the union government. You can't run a state like that, Huda. And if you want to bring in mohalla clinics, let me remind you of the ghost tests that were conducted here in Delhi. Scam after scam, whatever department you look at. Please don't use all these examples, because you're far too intelligent to fall to this ploy that whatever Aam Aadmi Party is saying is the truth. It's a mirage. It's come falling down in Delhi, and Punjab is next.
All right.
I'd like to respond. Just
quickly.
a minute. Yes. I have massive respect for Charuji. She also happens to be a dear acquaintance, a dear friend. Everything being said and done, let us not forget that in what conditions the Aam Aadmi Party actually fought in Delhi. It was like the entire constitutional machinery was playing at the hands of the BJP, right from the Delhi police to the ED to the CBI to the income tax department. Let us not forget that the entire media was hell-bent on portraying Arvind ji as this person who's built the Sheesh Mahal, who's responsible for the liquor gate scam, whereas, none of that has been as yet proven in any court of law. So let us not forget, this was not an easy time for Aam Aadmi Party. There was COVID that happened, which the Aam Aadmi Party had to battle for. And yet, the vote percentage, the difference is barely less than 4%. There are still 22 MLAs in the opposition. It is a strong opposition. Yes, we have lost out the Delhi election. Yes, it is a time of great introspection and a time of concern for everybody in Aam Aadmi Party. But that being said, Arvind Kejriwal ji is a leader who's not going to
Charu,
fade away just
Charu
like
wants to
that.
come in.
I
Charu.
know, Nigat. Yeah, very quickly. See, the proof is in the pudding. Are you going to tell me the Sheesh Mahal was not built? Are you going to tell me the liquor policy was not formulated and then taken back? And your reports explain that the cost of building that Sheesh Mahal was escalated 5 times. And it's only a renovation. You're not making a new house. So please, we don't need for something to be proved in the court of law. Of course, that's important. But at the same time, remember, we can see all of this with our naked eyes, right? The Sheesh Mahal is right there. The media was able to cover it, show us aspects. It is your RTI reports which showed us that even toilets are costing lakhs and lakhs of rupees. So let's not pretend all of this has not happened in Delhi. Secondly, I do not like this narrative that Aam Aadmi Party tries to float around and says we were not allowed to work because we were fighting against against everything. That's absolutely not true. You were able to work wherever you thought work was important. शीश महल तो बना लिया आपने, लिकर पॉलिसी बना लिया आपने, यमुना के नाम पर 27,000 करोड़ खर्च कर दिया आपने, लेकिन दिल्ली वालों को पीने के लिए पानी नहीं मिल पाता है.
All right, I have given you enough time. In fact, let me quickly bring in Nighat as well. Nighat, I think you want to make a point, but while you make that point, Nighat, I also want you to quickly also counter what has the allegation been made by Bhagwant Mann today to all the claims that were being floated around by Mr. Pratap Singh Bajwa. He said that Mr. Bajwa has been making these claims for the last 3 years and it's nothing new. In fact, all of those claims that 30 MLAs are in touch are also being refuted, including the one that Bhagwant Mann was or is in touch with the Union Home Ministry.
You know, like he said, since 3 years that he's been making statements and it was not true. Similarly, we've been also making the statements since last 3 to 4 years that this time Aam Aadmi Party is going to be washed away from the ground. That's exactly what has happened. So I am sure Bhagwant Mann was feeded well when he had met Arvind Kejriwal, and that's exactly why, which is why he just came out and gave that kind of a statement. Like I said, they're shaking within. They know, they do not even know if their MLAs are going to stand with them or not. Similarly, what had happened with Manipur's government lately with the Bharatiya Janata Party is in power. So I really think that's exactly going to happen with Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab. But as a Congress spokesperson and as a party, we demand accountability of the Aam Aadmi Party's government on the rising situation of the drugs, you know, the rising Khalistani threats, the terror attacks. And like my friend Huda just mentioned here, that, you know, we were so much in pressure and, you know, everybody was targeting. Yes, nobody would have targeted you if you did not, like Charu said, did not build, for the first time I agree with Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson today, that yes, if you did not build Sheesh Mahal and if you did not, you know, invested so much of an amount which was paid by Delhi's people and their pockets as taxes into your
I have
home,
to take Karan quickly, who's been
think
very
you would have been in
patiently
that
awaiting his
situation.
turn.
If you were, allow me for 10 seconds.
Okay.
If Arvind Kejriwal did not invest 20 lakh rupees per class for the, you know, making of that school model, which he says is amazing, which is actually not. He had invested 20 lakh rupees per class to modify and, you know, painting the walls. If hadn't been the case, you would have been in power and Bharatiya Janata Party would have been. But I'd like to see what Bharatiya Janata Party can do for Yamuna in the coming time when they are.
Okay, 10 seconds, Charu.
Yeah,
Just a 10-second
I'm
response.
only adding on to what Nighat said. You know, when we discuss classrooms, the worst of the lot is that you're counting bathrooms as classroom. Like, that's how low Aam Aadmi Party has fallen. Bathroom ko classroom bana diya hai.
22,700 new classrooms were made. There's a whole lot of figure that was actually done from the Aam Aadmi Party, and it is very interesting.
And I have that figure right in
Yet
front of me.
it failed to create an impact. And I want to give closing thoughts to Karan.
Interesting that the Congress is actually
Thank you for your patience, Karan.
All right, Karan, thank you so much for your patience. I want to give you these uninterrupted 3 minutes that I'm left with, which is that the Punjab unit of the Aam Aadmi Party right now cannot be seen in isolation of the Delhi debacle. And that's why I want to bring you in at a time when Arvind Kejriwal's own identity as a politician is being questioned, not to forget the fact that since 1998, the New Delhi constituency was the constituency that ensured every chief ministerial face for New Delhi. That included not just the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. And this time, for the first time since 1998, we've seen Aam Aadmi Party lose, and we'll have to see if Parvesh Verma actually makes it from the New Delhi constituency. But how much of this will now hold water, not just for the Aam Aadmi Party, also what are we now seeing in terms of the changing dynamics for the India alliance? Is this just the end of Arvind Kejriwal and his political future, or also the end of the alliance?
So, Akanksha, first of all, thank you so much for coming so early to me. I am extremely grateful for that. So secondly, you know, as far as this humongous loss of epic proportions, I would say, to Arvind Kejriwal, I think this is a party. Let's understand this. This was an inorganic startup with very less deliverables. It grew very rapidly. Its valuations were bloated. But when it comes to the bottom line, when it comes to the balance sheets, it delivered very little, which is why today it's fallen flat. And when a party is built around a cult and that cult is defeated, it's voted out, then it has to fall like a pack of cards, as Charuji just said. So that's where they stand as of now. And the moment Arvind Kejriwal lost his seat, there were murmurs in the power corridors, that he will try to pull the strings in Punjab, because here is a man who cannot stay without power. That has time and again been attested by his yesteryear colleagues as well. So Bhagwant Mann is on a slippery wicket anyways. We must understand today, Punjab is in as much chaos as Delhi has been for the last 10 years. Their debt has walloped up to 3.75 lakh crores. It's unbelievable, 47% debt to GDP ratio. Along with that, the law and order situation has completely collapsed. We are seeing grenades being hurled inside police stations. I mean, for the first time, our police forces, their morale has hit a rock bottom. So, anyways, he's been on a slippery ground, and with Kejriwal trying to maneuver in, it's a recipe for disaster. And I see an opportunity for Congress, for other parties, to come and salvage Punjab just as Delhi is now being tried to salvage. Because there also the water situation, the roads, the schools, they are in a dilapidated situation. And with every passing month, they're adding a debt of 5,000 CR. So does Bhagwant Mann enjoy that political capital within his MLAs who are looking here and there? Absolutely. Everyone knows they're trying to cut a deal.
I think the existential question before not just Arvind Kejriwal but before the Aam Aadmi Party is, can it survive the Delhi debacle or the Delhi loss and ensure that it bounces back not just within the national capital but at a national level, something that it had been targeted ever since it came into existence. Many thanks to you, ladies, and Karan, and thank you for your patience, Karan. And with that, in fact, let's quickly bring you some breaking inputs that we are getting in on the situation in Manipur after N. Biren Singh resigned as Manipur's chief minister. In fact, top government sources have revealed to CNN News 18 that President's rule will be imposed in Manipur. This is the big breaking input that we are bringing to you, that President's rule, which was also being weighed in as one of the options, is eventually and finally now going to be imposed in Manipur. This, of course, after N. Biren Singh resigned as Manipur's chief minister. Those breaking inputs coming in fact, from Kamalika. Let's quickly go across to Kamalika, who joins us with that breaking news story. Kamalika, what is the process of imposing the president's rule, and how will the government now ensure that the president's rule is not abused in the state?
See, right now we have to understand one thing, that the assembly session has to sit in once in 6 months. And in that case, in Manipur, it expires on 12th February. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock. So this is the cutoff last time by which Manipur has to decide whether there is going to be a new chief minister, whether there is going to be president's rule, or what, or there is a total dissolve. They will dissolve the assembly and then go for election. These are the options which they had. What we are coming to know from our sources, all through the day there has been rounds of meeting taking place. Sambit Patra has been meeting the MLAs individually in a very informal way. He met the local MLAs and local leaders. All of them, a group of them met Sambit Patra. But somehow what we are getting it from our sources, that consensus on name of a chief minister has still not been arrived. Still they are trying. That's obviously the first thing they are going to do. But if there is a consensus, they are definitely going to come. But the consensus seems to they have not arrived to a consensus till now. And that's the second alternative, that is the president's rule with a suspended animated assembly. That is the second option, and top sources tell CNN News 18 that there is a probability by tonight or by tomorrow morning, most likely by tonight, this president's rule might be imposed in Manipur. That is the biggest breaking news that is coming in this point of time from the sources. Sources tells us that since there is no other options, that's why this president's rule is likely to be imposed in Manipur.
Absolutely, and that will now ensure that all processes and in fact all the rules are now transferred from the state government over to the centre for the time being. Many thanks to you, Kamalika, for bringing us all those latest inputs. Now, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's biggest AI push in Paris is India, the next global AI hub. We'll be bringing you all those details on the other side. Stay tuned to Plain Speak.
would say this, and I'm going to let that be because that's Israel's decision, but as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think a lot of them are dead. I think a lot of the hostages are dead. I think it's a great human tragedy what's happened, how people can be that mean to do. I'm speaking for myself. Israel can override it, but from myself, Saturday at 12 o'clock, and if they're not here, all hell is going to break out.
Hamas said on Monday it would stop releasing Israeli hostages until further notice over what it called Israeli violation of the ceasefire agreement, raising the risk of reigniting the conflict. The Palestinian militant group was set to release more Israeli hostages on Saturday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and other Palestinians held in Israeli detention, as had been happening over the last 3 weeks. A Hamas military wing spokesperson said Israeli violations include delaying Palestinians from returning to northern Gaza, targeting Palestinians with Israeli shelling and gunfire, and stopping aid from entering the Strip. Israel's defense minister said Hamas's announcement violated the ceasefire deal and that he had instructed the military to be at the highest level of readiness in Gaza. Protesters in Tel Aviv demanded the safe return of all hostages on Monday.
We are getting used to seeing our people getting back, sometimes horrible conditions, but alive, and we're expecting for this deal to continue until its very end, and by the conditions fully.
A group representing hostage families called on mediators to stop the deal from breaking down, while a group representing Israeli military veterans accused the government of intentionally sabotaging the agreement. So far, 16 of the 33 hostages to be released in the first 42-day phase of the deal have come home. An additional 5 Thai hostages were returned in an unscheduled release. In exchange, Israel has released hundreds of prisoners and detainees. Meanwhile, Gazans are trying to rebuild their lives in the shattered enclave. The unexpected announcement comes amid growing doubts over an already fragile ceasefire that has largely held since it began on January 19th. Although there have been some incidents in which Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces and Hamas delays in providing names of hostages it planned to free. Aid agencies say the amount of aid getting into Gaza has increased since the ceasefire. Talks began last week on a second stage of the ceasefire deal, but have shown little sign of serious progress.
Welcome back. It's day 2 of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's power-packed visit to France in India's efforts to democratize technology. Prime Minister Narendra Modi co-chaired the AI Action Summit in Paris today alongside French President Emmanuel Macron. During his inaugural address, Prime Minister Modi asserted that artificial intelligence is creating the code for humanity in the 21st century. Let's also break down what Prime Minister had to say in his while he was leading the global AI push. He said that India has established low-cost digital public infra, highlighting India's achievement in creating affordable and scalable digital public infrastructure that serves over 1.4 billion people. Data is at the heart of AI development, and Prime Minister Modi has emphasized the need for building unbiased, high-quality data centers. Prime Minister has also stressed that technology, especially AI, should be available to all, not just a privileged few. He further added that people-centric applications should be in focus. He further emphasized the importance of robust cybersecurity measures to protect data, ensure privacy, and safeguard users from malicious attacks. Prime Minister Modi has also added that technology must be grounded in local ecosystems. As AI transforms industries and job markets, Prime Minister Modi has stressed the need for skilling and reskilling programs. India is rapidly emerging as a global leader in artificial intelligence, with significant strides in talent development, industry growth, and even technological innovation. Let's now tell you how AI is revolutionizing India. India is now recognized among top 5 fastest growing AI talent hubs. The country is witnessing a surge in AI-related education and research, which is all fueled by its world-class technical institutions and a thriving tech ecosystem. India's AI industry is on track to become a major player in the global market, with an estimated market size of $28.8 billion by 2025. The country is witnessing an explosion of AI-driven businesses and technological advancements across industries. India's AI talent pool has expanded exponentially, with a remarkable 14-fold increase in the number of AI-skilled professionals between 2016 and 2023 alone. As AI continues to gain traction across industries, the demand for skilled AI professionals in India is now expected to reach a staggering 1 million by 2026. India has also emerged as a vibrant startup ecosystem, with over 520 technology incubators and accelerators supporting AI innovation. And with that, let's in fact quickly pose the question to our guests that I will be joined by. As far as Prime Minister's visit to France is concerned, Prime Minister's biggest AI push in Paris: is India now going to be the next global AI hub?
AI is writing the code for humanity in this century. We must develop open source systems that enhance trust and transparency. We must build quality data sets free from biases. We must democratize technology and create people-centric applications. India is ready to share its experience and expertise to ensure that AI future is for good and for all.
All right, and with that, let's now take the discussion forward with Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar, who's a former diplomat, and Jibu Ilyas, who's an AI expert. And both of them are joining me in right now. Ambassador Sajanhar, thank you so much for joining in. I want your assessment of Prime Minister's speech, that too at a time when we are seeing this AI rivalry between China and the West, especially after China challenged that hegemony with DeepSeek. And now we can see how it's challenging other Western models, whether ChatGPT, even Gemini or Claude. Keeping that in the backdrop, how do you assess India's role and, of course, what Prime Minister had to say?
Akansha, I can't hear anything.
All right, Ambassador, we'll try. And,
Now I got you.
Ambassador, I want you to weigh in on what Prime Minister had to say at a time we've seen this AI rivalry between China and the West, especially after China, came up with its low-cost model of DeepSeek and has challenged the existing open source technology models like ChatGPT and Gemini, even Claude.
Yeah, thank you very much, Akansha. I think what the Prime Minister said was very right, very relevant, very valid. Number one, India has a track record of being able to bring up frugal solutions, frugal engineering, whether it is as far as the digital public infrastructure is concerned, whether it is in the area of space, high-tech, landing our vehicle on Mars, landing our vehicle on the moon, on the southern side, on the darker side of the moon, whether it is in terms of developing vaccines against COVID-19, etc., and then supplying it, gratis and free of charge to a large number of developing countries. So India has a track record. India also has a track record in terms of the talent pool that it has. India also has a track record of having huge data, and data is required for this. So I think India has all the possibilities, and that is what India said, that the world does not need to be broken up into different segments. We need democratization of this technology. We need this technology to be used for the good and for all, particularly as far as the global south is concerned. Because, this digital divide that has taken place, whether it is with the, internet or computer or Wi-Fi, that sort of a thing should not come through AI, because AI has the capacity to change the lives of people.
I couldn't agree with you more that as far as India's leading role as a contributor to AI, even as the leading voice of Global South is concerned, is a very fair one. And that's why, in fact, I want to bring in Jibu on that point. Jibu, it's happening at a time when we see the kind of Western hegemony over open source AI versus China, which has, of course, shaken the market with DeepSeek. Will India be able to bring back that balance to the AI Western hegemony?
So, I think there is going to be some sort of a race which reminds of the Soviet US Cold War era, like space race happening. But unlike US and China, where AI is driven by corporate monopolies, the big techs or state, India is championing more of an AI for societal progress. And that's what making the rest of the global south stands behind India. So the rest of the global south sees India as a major leader in terms of AI. Even forget global south, even countries like France see India as a major leader. That's why they have invited to co-chair the summit alongside. So we are showing a new path. What, you might not always need to go the way what US and China is doing.
Right.
Instead, we can invest more in digital public infrastructure and ensuring ethical and accessible development of this technology. So this approach, this pro-innovation approach to AI regulation and deployment will impact billions of Indians, and not just Indians, across the globe. It will affect billions of people. So, and we have been instrumental in pushing this balanced approach, right? Pro-innovative, at the same time need to have strong ethical safeguards. In many side events, the Indian delegates and the leaders and even our Prime Minister himself has mentioned this multiple times. So we are advocating, as a leader in Global South, for equitable AI policies, ensuring that AI doesn't remain a privilege of the wealthy nations, as you pointed out, right? So we need a governance framework that reflects the realities of larger economics, diverse, and not just what people in Silicon Valley thinks or Beijing.
All right. Ambassador Sajjan, do you think India and France have the power that's currently needed with a major player like the United States focused on America first policy? On the other hand, there's also the threat of how ethical can AI be if there is no global regulation. So to ensure it is not just environmentally sustainable, but also ethical and democratic.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question. And I would like to suggest for your consideration and the consideration of your viewers, Akansha, that it is not only India and France. Because you look at it, as far as China is concerned, China does not command any trust as far as the global community is
That's
concerned.
why I asked. That's why.
Yeah,
I asked.
because of the weaponization that it sort of engaged in, that it indulged in during COVID-19 pandemic, whether it was vaccines or PPMs or ventilators or anything, it has been so it doesn't command respect. Now with Mr. Trump coming there and his policy of MAGA, Make America Great Again, he's become isolationist. He's not really interested in very many sort of multilateral institutions. You look at what he has done to multilateralism, WHO, Paris Agreement, ICC, UNESCO, WTO, you name it. He's sent a wrecking ball to the whole multilateral system. Now, under that circumstances, I think the rest of the world, it's not only India and France. I think whether it is India, France, it is Scandinavia, it is Nordics, it is Germany, it is UK, it is Japan, it is others, all of them will get together because all of them, number one, they want beneficial applications and users of AI, and they want that there should be safeguards, that AI should not be misused, that there should be guardrails, it should be used ethically, because we know, what the Prime Minister mentioned there, whether it is in the area of cyber security, deepfake, disinformation, etc., what damage it can do as far as the world is concerned, and particularly in all these countries. So I think it's not going to be only India and France, but a much greater cohort of, much larger cohort of countries who are going to be there.
Right.
And also with the, of course, Global South definitely is with India on this particular, and they would be cheering for India because India has been raising the concerns of the Global South and putting the interest of the Global South up front in all international at all international fora and summits on these important subjects. So I think India has a very important role to play, significant role to play, and we have put our energies now fully into this, not only in terms of developing useful applications, but also in terms of developing useful hardware in a frugal manner.
Absolutely. I think India can very well achieve that. But I want to bring Jibu on that note. Jibu, given that our own IT Minister, Mr. Ashwani Vaishnav, has already said that India will also be working towards developing its own AI model in the coming 4 to 8 months, how far are we from that race as far as China or the United States is concerned?
So it's a good thing that we are ambitious, but I personally believe we should be thinking more than just building these AI models, because by the time we build a language model, the technology would have moved furthermore, as we have seen. The next generation of AI models will start coming. So that's one thing. But at the same time, it's very welcoming that the government itself has taken initiative through the India AI mission to procure 18,000 GPUs and support researchers and entrepreneurs in India in many different ways. Yeah, coming to America, yes, I think JD Vance is also here. Yes. Who is having a pretty anti-China stand very publicly. So this creates a whole geopolitical divide between China and US in terms of AI and resources, whether it's hardware resources or software resources, or sharing that part. So that's where countries like India and France, who is now publicly has said plug baby plug, countering Trump's drill baby drill. So France came out publicly opposing the Trump's what Trump used to say. So it's a time where we are questioning this US hegemony, right? They wanted to control the hardware access for the rest of the world, then which they withdraw later on. So this is the right time where the world is also showcasing. Interestingly, there is also a lot of Chinese involvement also in this AI Action Summit, as opposed to the previous ones in the and in London. So it's an interesting shift of power landscape change. That's what has been happening.
All right. Ambassador Sajanhar, I want to in fact take a last question from you, which is a sort of look ahead to the upcoming India-France bilateral, where we all know that both the heads of state will in fact be reviewing the 2047 roadmap as far as the 2047 Horizon roadmap is concerned. What can we now expect in terms of our bilateral relationship, which of course has been one of strength to strength?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think on geopolitics, on strategic issues, there is a great deal of trust between the two countries, and we have seen that over the last many years. I think in terms of number of times that the two leaders have met, last year 3 times, 2024 we had Macron, and you would recall, Akansha, and your viewers would recall that it was Joe Biden who was invited first to be the chief guest, and he regretted because he couldn't make it because of the elections. And at the last minute, we asked, the French president, and he very readily agreed. So I think this really speaks of the depth of the India-France strategic partnership and also the personal rapport. On the substantive issues, I think whether it is defense, also it is in terms of civil nuclear technology, we have made certain changes. Yes. You would have seen in the finance bill for, the liability clause, which has been keeping the technology from the United States and from France.
In fact, Prime Minister's visit will also be one that will be to the ITMER, which will in fact review the energy needs.
Yeah, ITER, the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. But if I could just add half a sentence to that, that is a different technology. That is a fusion technology. Okay. While when we are talking about the normal reactors, nuclear reactors, that is a technology that we should be getting in 2030, 2035 fusion.
I'm afraid I'll have to leave it at that since I'm running short of time, but always a pleasure to have you on the show, Ambassador Sajjanar. Thank you for joining in. And with that, it's a quick wrap from my end. Thank you so much for watching Clean Speak. Up next is The Right Stand with Anand Narasimhan.
बात जब अपने फैमिली के
I would say this, and I'm going to let that because that's Israel's decision, but as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think a lot of them are dead. I think a lot of the hostages are dead. I think it's a great human tragedy what's happened, how people can be that mean to do. I'm speaking for myself. Israel can override it, but from myself, Saturday at 12 o'clock, and if they're not here, all hell is going to break out.
Hamas said on Monday it would stop releasing Israeli hostages until further notice over what it called Israeli violation of the ceasefire agreement, raising the risk of reigniting the conflict. The Palestinian militant group was set to release more Israeli hostages on Saturday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and other Palestinians held in Israeli detention, as had been happening over the last 3 weeks. A Hamas military wing spokesperson said Israeli violations include delaying Palestinians from returning to northern Gaza, targeting Palestinians with Israeli shelling and gunfire, and stopping aid from entering the Strip. Israel's defense minister said Hamas's announcement violated the ceasefire deal and that he had instructed the military to be at the highest level of readiness in Gaza. Protesters in Tel Aviv demanded the safe return of all hostages on Monday.
We are getting used to seeing our people getting back, sometimes horrible conditions, but alive. And we're expecting for this deal to continue until its very end, and by the conditions fully.
A group representing hostage families called on mediators to stop the deal from breaking down, while a group representing Israeli military veterans accused the government of intentionally sabotaging the agreement. So far, 16 of the 33 hostages to be released in the first 42-day phase of the deal have come home. An additional 5 Thai hostages were returned in an unscheduled release. In exchange, Israel has released hundreds of prisoners and detainees. Meanwhile, Gazans are trying to rebuild their lives in the shattered enclave. The unexpected announcement comes amid growing doubts over an already fragile ceasefire that has largely held since it began on January 19th. Although there have been some incidents in which Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces and Hamas delays in providing names of hostages it planned to free. Aid agencies say the amount of aid getting into Gaza has increased since the ceasefire. Talks began last week on a second stage of the ceasefire deal, but have shown little sign of serious progress.